What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on the 88 sedan some more, and I think by the time this video is done, the engine will be back in the car. If you guys saw a couple of videos ago, we refreshed the K20A2 that came out of it, timing chain, tensioner, water pump, valve lash. We got a new rear main seal, and that has to go on before the clutch and flywheel, and then the transmission, which I picked up the other day. My brand new clutch got delivered this morning. Shout out to Action Clutch for always helping me along these builds. And right now I'm headed to the storage unit to grab my spare flywheel because the one that I have is still currently attached to the engine itself. I want to attempt to resurface a flywheel with you guys. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I've done this many and plenty of times before throughout the channel and all of my old builds where I resurfaced the flywheel myself, and it has always worked out perfectly fine. But this is probably gonna be the first time I'm gonna share with you guys here on camera because one, I'm saving money, right? Yeah, it's 50 bucks, 80 bucks, somewhere around there to resurface a flywheel. And two, I'm a budget builder. And because I've had success with it before, I may as well do it again. Now, typically on a boosted setup, I use the stock flywheel unless it's like a twin disc or like a chromoly flywheel. I typically use a stock flywheel, and because I only bought a clutch and not a flywheel, I'm gonna reuse the factory one, and before I install it, I want to at least clean it up. Right now, I'm about to head to the storage unit to grab my spare flywheel, which oddly enough, I brought it there the other day. Now I'm headed back to pick it up. So when we get back, we're gonna get cracking on the flywheel and getting the engine off the stand to get it all mated up together to get that whole entire engine back into the car. Let's get to it. I brought a 10mm 12 point to the storage unit because I thought I didn't have one, and sure enough, I have one right there. I'm surprised it hasn't ran away yet, but gotta pop off my clutch right here to get the flywheel off. Still in good condition. Not shabby. Not shabby. So I just got back to the pad. I'm sorry for the wind noise. It feels really good right now, but it might distort the audio a little bit. I just got back from Home Depot and I went to go grab some flat stock. This is 3/16 2x48, and the reason why I bought this is because we're putting an all-wheel drive transmission in. The car came to me front wheel drive, which means the motor mount kit is for front wheel drive, and the back mount is not going to fit the all-wheel drive transmissions. So if you guys have been following for a while, you guys know my brother's car is all-wheel drive, my blue sedan is all-wheel drive, my wagon is all-wheel drive, all using the EFK1 and K2 motor mounts, and I had to make the custom rear bracket for the all-wheel drive transmission. So today we're going to be building that as well too, because obviously that's going to be the third mount for the engine hanging into the car. Now, in the last couple of days since the last video, which was I believe the trailing arm modification for the full-wheel drive RTA, the last couple of days I've just been cleaning, scrubbing and cleaning. I'm going to show you guys really quickly. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, you guys obviously won't know this, but I've been cleaning and cleaning, guys. Look at this spindle. Look at this. Ooh, man, I did the whole nine. I wired it down, I scuffed it up, and then I washed it by hand, and then I painted it high temp gloss black. So both spindles are done. I even got the little plastic pieces for under the trailing arm all cleaned up. The hub was super duper rusted. Clean all that up, give it a good scrub as well too. The fork itself, look at this. I cleaned the inside all around, painted it, and obviously the rotor, the bracket for these guys right here, and what else did I do? Oh, and then the dust shield right here, nicely coated. I bent all of these guys back because it was crusty, so give it a nice coat, and all of this is gonna look freaking fresh when it goes back into the car. That's also why I went to Home Depot, because I went to go buy more paint. We have this one, actually didn't get it last time, but semi-gloss black, which is like for the motor mount bracket. High temp black is what I use on all the suspension components. And then more quick color, because I was going through it pretty quickly to paint the rear trailing arms right there. So got another can of this. So right now I'm going to grab all my material and everything I'm going to need to do this deglazing on the surface of the flywheel. I know I said earlier resurfacing is when you cut a new layer into it. We're just deglazing the surface of the flywheel. That's what we're doing. All right, guys, so my tools of choices here is my Milwaukee drill with the buffing backing plate attachment. This is a 3-inch surface, so I'm going to be using, this is 100 grit. right here. It's a Diablo sandpaper, 100 grit, and I cut it to fit. And I'm going to be using 220 to chase it. I was going to do 120, but I don't have a 120, so 220. And I guess the surface is really based off like what you want it to be when it's all said and done. So you can up the grit, you can down the grit. I've seen write-ups that go down to 80 grit, but I'm not trying to cut too much material off. All I'm doing is just deglazing it real quick, and I'm just going to finish it with 220, which I think has enough grip on the surface to bite into the new clutch. So forgive me, Action Clutch, for using a used flywheel. Before I get started, I'm going to clean the entire flywheel so we don't get all these gunk right here caked up on the pad. And I'm going to be using WD-40 as the lubrication. And I was going to do this on the bearing, but I realized that the K-Series has a pilot bushing and not a bearing. I was going to put a bolt in between, throw this on the vise, and while I run the drill on the surface, it'll spin the flywheel to get an even cut on the surface. But you know, pilot bushing is actually on the crank itself and not on the flywheel. So let's go ahead and clean this real quick. Got some oven cleaner. So two things about this flywheel, guys. I noticed that when I picked it up from the storage unit, it did feel a little bit lighter than what I remember a stock RSX flywheel weighs. And two, I noticed that the pattern of the flywheel is a little bit different than the OEM one. So if you look at where the teeth and stuff is at, right? Look at the stock one. You guys see that gap right there between the teeth and the flywheel itself? They're different. I wonder if this is a Lighten flywheel, because if it is, that's a win in my books. And this surface actually looks pretty clean. But I'm gonna deglaze it anyways. Let's get to it. Don't worry, guys, it is WD-40. I buy these by the gallon. Spray up your surface a little bit. And I'm gonna turn this thing down to 1 because I'm not trying to take off material. The engine spins counterclockwise, so I'm gonna go counterclockwise and only in one direction. Here we go. Oh, look at that. It spins by itself. I'm using the old race on top of the race that's still stuck in the bearing. And then I'm gonna use a socket to kind of use as a dowel. Probably hold the top and see if it spins. Okay, it's a little tricky because the pad is hitting the dowel that's on the flywheel, so this is gonna work. This is going to work. Just gotta hold it down. Or actually, I'm gonna put an extension right here. Not shabby, dude. Not freaking shabby. Wow, okay. 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 I'm actually pretty stoked about that, guys. Check this out. Damn. Look at that. Let me wipe it off a little bit so you guys can see a little bit better the surface. There was some very light discoloration that was on here, but look at it. I'm gonna hit it a couple more times with the 100, and then I'm gonna move over to the 220, and then I'll show you guys the final. I kind of want to record something on the tripod for my Instagram real quick. Guys, check it out, dude. The surface, what discoloration. It's so freaking smooth on top of that, and it does feel like the finish of a brand new flywheel. So I'm definitely stoked about that. I don't think I'm gonna go up the grid at all, because like I said, I want that bite onto the new clutch. So I'm probably gonna run this like maybe another 30 seconds, and then we'll start prepping the engine to come off that stand, so we can start putting everything together to get it into the car. You guys want to know what the honest truth is? I've always used factory flywheel bolts. And I almost never really use Loctite. I will say this one is definitely heavier than that guy. Pilot bushing, I'm gonna change that out. Right there. Before I pop out the rear main seal, double check I have the right one. Looks like it. One of you guys sent me this tool to the PO box many years ago, and I still use it, so much appreciate it. There we go. Flush to the block. All right guys, so let's go ahead and get into the clutch. You guys already know Action is on board with a lot of my builds. My brother's car has Action stage 5 with the heavy duty pressure plate. My KRX has the stage 3, which has the same disc as the stage 5 but a more streetable pressure plate. The all-wheel drive sedan has the Action twin disc in it. My Flip RX, my Red CRX, man, I've been rocking Action clutch for a very long time. And for this car, because we're not really shooting for a gang of horsepower, and because it's all-wheel drive, you need a clutch that's going to withstand the torque transfer of the all-wheel drive systems. Let's go ahead and unbox this real quick and show you guys which clutch I went with. And remember guys, cut away from yourself, not toward yourself. Oh, okay, this is the first time I've seen the clutch in a black box and not the red one. First package on the top here is the clutch itself, the puck, and this one right here guys is the Ironman clutch, which has the very similar clutch disc as the twin disc. This right here is going to hold down a bunch of power without the overkill of, you know, driving around on a twin disc. Although I will tell you guys, a twin disc on the street is not as bad as you guys think. For those who think that a twin disc is aggressive, you guys need to stop skipping leg day. Now, before, the Ironman clutch normally doesn't come with a sprung setup on it, and this is actually one of their new line clutch assembly where the Ironman has the spring setup on it to kind of ease the drivability on the street. And if you guys didn't know, Action clutch now has a twin disc that is also sprung. I really wanted to try it out, but the pocket wasn't deep enough for it, and for what we're doing with this car, the Ironman is going to do the job. So let's go ahead and continue here. Right here we have a brand new release bearing. When you guys are putting in a new clutch, spend the extra cash and put a brand new release bearing in it. All the work and everything you're gonna do, and then you use an old one and then your clutch starts making noise, you're gonna regret it. So they got a new bearing if you're buying a new kit, and also the provided tool, clutch alignment tool with a brand new pilot bushing, which is typically on here, right there. We have another lanyard right here to add to the collection. There's 2 stickers right here, the Action Clutch big label, and then we have the tiny one, which is the one I like to rock on the car because it's small and simple. We do have a warranty and break-in instruction sheet right there, so make sure to take some time to read through this. And the last piece to the puzzle right here is the pressure plate. And wow, this is the first time I actually have a clutch pressure plate that is gold on the center, because all the ones that I've ever used are black. So let's go ahead and get this thing all prepped and ready to install on the long block. Guys, the sun is almost done setting over there in the background. I've been busy with putting the flywheel, the clutch, the transmission onto the long block, and I was actually on a phone call with 2 different people. Also spoke to my neighbor Itai about working on his Volkswagen tomorrow, but I'm going to give you guys a look here before we roll this into the engine bay. We installed a new rear main seal, the pilot bushing, we torqued the flywheel, we torqued the pressure plate, aligned the clutch with the tool, installed the new release bearing, re-greased the spring, the ball, and a little bit of the neck on the shaft with the transmission, and this thing is flowing pretty freely. Transmission is installed really smoothly. The dowel pins are in there, all the bolts are secured. So back here we installed the half shaft because it's easier to put it on now than to crawl underneath the car to do that. I did clean it up because it was rusted, wired it all down, put some rust reformer paint on it, and I was trying to put on the rear mount because I wanted the engine to sit in the position that it would have been in front wheel drive, and then put the jack underneath it to hold it up to make the other rear mount for the all-wheel drive transmission. But the rear mount doesn't line up at all. Even with the transfer case off, it still interferes in this general area. So I'm just gonna have to do it by eyeball again, jack it up and get it as straight as possible, then make the rear mount. But I just want to show you guys everything is installed, ready to rock and roll. And this is the biggest reason of why I built that lower support. One, to make the mounting points for the intercooler to tuck in, the radiator to sit on because we're using the Sirocco style, and to have the lower support removable so I can just roll the engine in. Let's do that. It is crazy to say, guys, the engine is finally back in. I think I've had this car for like a little over a month. I don't remember, but we've done quite a lot to this car, and it's crazy to say that the engine is back in, probably for the final time, with the transmission, the all-wheel drive transmission and everything. You guys can see the engine is still rocking, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to max the back of the engine all the way up, where you can see I notched the back of the transmission right here to clear the steering rack. So I'm going to jack the back half of the transmission up to where it's actually touching right there, and then I'm going to build a mount base off of that, and when I drop the jack and the mounts and everything are in place, it's going to droop just a little bit, which will give us the clearance we need, but also ensure that we're going to have the best axle angle. Because the thing about these cars is when you go K-swap, your axle is in a weird bindage, right? Not a crazy bindage, it's a weird angle, which is why you guys see a lot of like the race EF guys with K-swaps, the front half of their bumper is cut because they move the caster forward to straighten up your axles, and the slicks or whatever you're running is going to go into the bumper, so people cut them off. With the engine fully tilted back to make that bracket, it's going to give us the best axle angle possible without moving my wheels forward. But then again, it's not going to be on slicks all the time, so I'm not worried about the caster. But as long as the traction bar puts the wheel where I need it in the wheel well, whatever axle angle we get from that, that's what we're going to have to deal with. So right now I'm going to clean up my garage really quickly, and I'm going to see if I can try to make that rear mount tonight. I have about an hour and a half to make noise before I decide to cut it, because it's a courtesy thing from me. But I'm going to try to knock out that rear mount. If not, we'll continue tomorrow. Not a big deal, but let's go ahead and clean this mess up really quickly. You guys know we're going to make this mount out of cardboard, and then we're going to transfer it to metal. All right guys, finally the rear mount is done. Last night I got probably 60% with the bracketry, but it got late, so I had to close it up for the night. Came out this morning to button up the rest of this, and then a buddy of mine asked me if I can weld a charge pipe for him for his Integra, and I was like, yeah, shit, bring it over. So I did a quick weld job. He actually just left like 30 minutes ago, and got the bracket all buttoned up, got it all painted, got it installed, and dude, the engine, solid. Heck yeah. The gap between the transmission and the steering rack opened up a little bit when I took the jack out, so it's not actually touching. You guys can't really see it down there, but it's not touching, so that's freaking good. And this is the max back angle that we're gonna get as far as axle placement, so this is gonna work out perfectly fine, and I am stoked because now the engine is like permanently in place. I appreciate my buddy paying me for the welding job, and he also dropped off a bunch of consumables, some new gloves right here, and we have WD-40, PB blaster, we have red and blue Loctite right there, and there are 3 rolls of electrical tape down there because I do use them a lot, man. Much appreciated, brother. I really do. And hopefully he's gonna get his car on the dyno soon, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna get my car done in time to go on the dyno with him, but I am trying to attend when he hits the dyno because I do need to tune the KRX anyways. So if my sedan don't get ready for the dyno, we'll probably take that car to go tune with him, and then I'll show you guys his car. I know I mentioned in the last clip that we're gonna work on my neighbor's car, which I'm actually about to do right now. So that means I'm gonna cap out this video. We went to the storage unit, we grabbed a spare stock flywheel, or so I thought. Turned out to be a Lighten flywheel. We deglazed it with a drill, some freaking sanding pads, and WD-40 flywheel, nice and fresh, and we installed that with a brand new rear main seal, torqued all the flywheel bolts down. Our clutch showed up from Action Clutch, which this time around I am running the Ironman, and the Ironman is actually pretty suitable for a low horsepower all-wheel drive car, but also can hold a lot of power if it was front-wheel drive. So the Ironman clutch is what we're using. We installed it with the new pilot bushing, the new release bearing, and if you guys are interested in an Action Clutch for your car, man, be sure to click the link in the description below and use discount code, save 10% off. It helps me out more than you guys know. We installed the transmission, we installed the long block back into the car, and then forgetting that I need a new rear mount because it's an all-wheel drive transmission. So I went to go buy some flat stock, came back and built a new rear mount, and the engine is finally permanently in the car once again. Super stoked that the engine is back in the car because that means everything in the garage can finally start going back into the car, guys, and moving forward we're going to be making a ton of progress. We are on a super crunch time because Race Wars is around the corner. Still a lot to do with the car, suspension stuff, the engine, the turbo kit, the fabrication. So much to do in such little time, but we've done something crazy like this before where we actually do meet the deadline. So I'm pushing for it because I decided that I am going to take this car to Race Wars and not my blue all-wheel drive car. So that is the goal. So I hope you guys are looking forward to it, but we're going to wrap it up for this video right here. I hope you guys enjoyed the progress update on the 88 sedan. If you guys did, be sure to leave a thumbs up. And if you guys want to stick around to see this car closer and closer to being done, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.